Sickos Club.
Sickos Club.
Welcome back, wrestling fans. We are live from the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. It's February 25th, 1990. I'm your host, the toast of the Third Coast, Professor Degree. With me, as always, I Blade Daily, the host of the Sit Down, Shut Up, and Mark Out podcast. This is Wrestle War 90, Wild Thing. This is Sickos Club. Ladies and gentlemen, this is professional wrestling the hard way.
That was really good.
Thanks.
Degree. Cadillac Margarita. That was a hell of an intro. Thank you. Thank you. No. Hey, thank you.
What I'm here for. So, Wrestle War 1990. The fucking rap song at the beginning of this was like, if your mom wrote a song, you know, like with the Steiner brothers, and we're here to say that we like to wrestle in a crazy way. Like the absolute most, it's you gotta watch it just for the song at the beginning. It was awesome.
So if you go on YouTube, I believe if you type in Wrestle War 1990 rap, you can just watch that. I mean, it is the first thing on the show as well. So if you watch the event on the actual feed, you will on the WCW channel that WWE has. I will give them credit. It's a great channel. If you go watch Wrestle War 1990, all you got to do is just hit play, and this is the first thing that comes on. It's
fantastic.
WCW's at a crossroads at this moment, right? Where Jim Herd clearly feels the clarion call to modernize this wrestling product, but not completely abandon the audience that they already have, right? So what do? You bring in what the kids are talking about, which is the
raps.
The rap.
Yeah.
The raps. Right. But then you find the whitest person you can to do the rap.
This is just like 2 years before PN News makes his debut, right? I mean,
yo baby, like yo,
the absolute worst. Oh god, that guy. And Van Hammer, Ric Flair. This is like before, because Jim Herd's the guy that made Ric Flair cut his hair, right?
He wanted him to cut his hair. He didn't cut his hair because
when does he cut his hair for the Black Scorpion thing? Is that before this?
I guess it is for the Black Scorpion thing. So it is technically while Herd's there. You're right.
Okay.
Right. But he wanted him to cut his hair and get an earring and call
and be
himself
Spartacus. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like WCW. The logo's WCW, but Terry Funk does call it the NWA. Terry Funk seems weird in this. Did you think? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if he was drunk or like, I don't know what his deal was.
Terry Funk sounds, he had just stepped back from wrestling. He had just wrapped up his program with Ric Flair. The I Quit match had happened about 3 months before this. And so Terry, I believe, has it in his mind that he's going to retire and become a backstage guy, commentator dude.
Very smiley. He's very like, hey, Jim, or, you know, like really over the top.
He doesn't know how to not be the wrestler Terry Funk. And so he's green as goose shit at commentary. And it really shows on this show. Him and Jim Ross, it's so uncomfortable, really, to listen to. There's like this weird tension. Jim Ross is trying to hold his hand, but Terry's like trying to be Jesse Ventura at times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. He's even wearing like the big feather in his ear and all that shit.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And he's trying to be this kind of folksy Jesse Ventura. And it's weird. It's weird.
It's weird to say, oh, it does. Terry Funk it doesn't work for me, but it's weird. It doesn't work.
It's definitely a weird dynamic to the show. So yeah, so they start with, and the other thing that's great about this show is the name. It's called Wrestle War 90 Wild Thing, right? And tell me they didn't watch Major League. Tell me they didn't watch Major League and go, Wild Thing is what the kids are going to be talking about.
Yeah. We're going to try to bring kids in with I guess everything did bring kids in with an R-rated movie, but it didn't seem right. Do you want to get into the show, or do you want to talk shit about it a little bit more before we start?
I don't know. I mean, ultimately, we reviewed Capital Combat the last time we were on. And if I had known that we were going to review this show, which I also picked, so it's completely my fault. I can't even blame this on you.
Did you? No, I picked this. I picked this specifically for the rap song.
That's right. This is your fault. This is your fault.
It is
so
actually
fuck you
completely
for
my
this.
fault.
We shouldn't have reviewed Capital Combat before we did this show because that takes place after this show. Whatever.
This is February and Capital Combat is in May. Sting is injured here. He's on crutches. He's still injured in May when RoboCop shows up.
But he's not on crutches.
No, here he is, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, this is really close to when he got hurt.
Right.
He got hurt like a couple weeks before this. So he had just had the surgery on his patella tendon.
So, okay. The first match is Kevin Sullivan and Buzz Sawyer versus the Dynamic Dudes. Johnny Ace and Shane Douglas, who are like the Nelson twins, kind of. Like mullets and like long, silky blonde hair. Buzz Sawyer Buzz Sawyer looks fucked up here. And at one point, Jim Ross refers to him as like Peter Boyle. And he's all like knock-kneed, skinny ankle, and like his forehead is huge. He still has the energy of Buzz Sawyer, but like his body's not there anymore. And Kevin Sullivan has something in his hair, like it's braided and like it goes down like halfway down his ass. It's like shoelaces tied in his hair. It's fucking weird. That's all.
Kevin Sullivan really reads to me as like early 90s self-styled libertarian.
Yes.
Weirdo with, some kind of like weird, like medieval beard. And like, like my dad had a lot of friends like that. And it's weird because he's not that, but
all you had to say was libertarian. And yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah. Then there was Buzz Sawyer. So Buzz Sawyer was soon not long for this earth. It should be said.
So that's probably why he looks very unhealthy.
Yeah, he's going to die of a cocaine overdose, I believe, like a couple years after this. Yeah, it's not long. Buzz Sawyer, I also didn't know that he was famous for opening up wrestling camps, taking people's money, and then just running out of town.
Not a huge shocker.
Yeah, he was known for being I've heard rumors that he was a drug runner as well, which also
it's
not surprising. I believe it.
I like younger Buzz Sawyer. I don't know a whole heck of a lot about him, but like he's cool. I don't know. I like the rough and tumble style. I don't have a lot of notes for this match other than Buzz Sawyer is the kind of guy that hits you for real and pins you with his dick in your face, because that's pretty much what he did. That was like everything he brought to the table. I didn't think this match was really anything special.
If they were trying to open the show hot, they really failed. Also, this is in Greensboro. So Greensboro is an NWA town. Like it is the NWA town. It is the Crockett town. So just for reference, okay, they had come off this red hot 1989 where they could do no wrong. And their total attendance for this is 7,894. That's not a great number for that time. If they're in the Coliseum, which I'm sure they probably are, the Greensboro Coliseum, that's not a great number. That's where WCW ran Sting's retirement, or AEW ran Sting's retirement show. This crowd also...
Not until the main event. They come alive for the main event. Yeah.
Halfway through the main event. Like, this crowd is dead. Well, this entire show.
There's nothing to give them. Like you said, if they're trying to start out hot, it's not good. The Dynamic Dudes are like woefully miscast I'm guessing they're supposed to be like the hot young guys.
They are.
They're not. There's no energy. There's no excitement. There's no soul. Like they're just dull. Shane Douglas doesn't seem like he wants to be there, and Johnny Ace is Johnny Ace. So it's just crummy.
Shane Douglas and Johnny Ace have the combined charisma of testicular cancer. And they, at one point, were coming out with skateboards.
Yeah.
To like Beach Boys kind of ish music.
It's like if your mom booked and just didn't like, oh, this is what the kids love. Well, you said Jim Hurd. This is what the kids like these days. Here you go. It's just terrible. It's a 10-minute match that goes 15 minutes. And just, that's all I really have to say.
It's a 10-minute match that feels like an entire pay-per-view.
It's which
not
is what
good.
A couple of these pay-per-views or matches feel like. Do you remember Rude Dog? It was like, I think it was a clothing line. Like
it was. Yeah, it was like a skater line, wasn't it?
That's what it looked, but it was like for kids. It was like, kids aren't wearing Santa Cruz, but you're wearing Rude Dog. That's what the font on their tights reminded me of. So yeah, they're totally poochy. That's exactly what they are.
And then I gotta say, Buzz Sawyer just has wounded animal vibes to me.
Like he's got wounded animals in his basement? Yeah, possibly.
Or no, like he's a wounded animal.
He
like
doesn't.
He's just like, somebody needs to put this guy down. Like, and thankfully the job fell to cocaine.
Older Buzz Sawyer, like I said, like when he's like, he's like this badass little dude, but I mean, he's like Kevin Sullivan, kind of. Probably hanging out, stockpiling guns in their basement, canned foods, rations, bullets and whiskey. Anyway.
Convincing his friends that their wives need to sleep with him.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sawyer gets the pin on Johnny Ace. And then we go backstage.
With big splash off the top.
Big splash. Backstage, Missy Hyatt is with Norman the Lunatic, who reminds me a lot. He's got a lot of Golga from the Oddities vibes going on.
Mm-hmm.
He's creepy. He's trying to get a kiss and look down her shirt. And she's wearing a tuxedo, but he's trying to look down her shirt. And that's all I got. Who's Norman the Lunatic? Like, where does he come from?
Okay. Norman the Lunatic came from Stampede. He was their top heel. He was a guy named Makam Singh up there. Yes, right. He was Makam Singh. He's a Michigan guy.
Well, I should know that.
So his that's his past. His future is Friar Ferguson before he becomes Bastion Booger.
So I was just gonna say, he becomes Bastion Booger. Was just fucking repugnant with the
absolutely
like
the most disgusting wrestler probably
for real. Yeah. So he's like the precursor to Golga.
Yeah, but his character in WCW is that he's escaped from an asylum. He was managed, I think, at one time. Was it by Kevin Sullivan? Or was it by... He was basically like this big, huge guy that was being mismanaged and led astray by... It was either Kevin Sullivan or Teddy Long. I think it's Kevin Sullivan.
Makes sense.
And then he turned on them. The crowd convinced him to turn babyface. And as a kid, I remember thinking that Norman had some charisma. And watching this now, I'm like, he was creepy. And no, he has no charisma. Zero.
At all. And
negative charisma.
Yeah, and you'd think for a guy in that role, you would kind of have to have charisma, but no, there's nothing. He's got a stuffed animal. I don't know. He's not horrible in the ring. It's just, meh.
He's got a stuffed animal. He's got a beanie with the propeller on it, and he's looking down Missy Hyatt's shirt. And so what he says is, he's like, "Oh, Missy, I'm pretty nervous about the match, but maybe if you gave me a hug,
right,
that'd make me feel better." And then she's like, "Oh, okay," and she gives him a hug. And then he's like, "Maybe if you gave me a kiss, I'd feel a little better." And she's like, "Okay." She gives him a kiss. Then he's like, "Maybe if you gave me one more." And
because that's
what the fuck?
That's what a good guy does,
That's the good guy in this next match, which is utter horseshit. They sent poor fucking Mick Foley, Cactus Jack Manson, as he's called at this time. This is this is the time I first saw Foley was I had just started watching wrestling, and I was thinking about it, Degree. This might be the first pay-per-view I ever saw. I didn't see it live.
Right.
My great uncle was a wrestling fan, and he taped it and let me borrow the tape.
Nice.
So I think this might be the first pay-per-view I ever saw.
That's awesome.
And so I remembered this match. And do you remember we were talking, it might've been on the Capital Combat one, but I said Jim Ross makes a joke about Cactus Jack and his favorite color being light black.
Oh yeah. He does it again.
he did it in this match. And I realized I remembered this from being 10 years old.
Okay.
Watching this shit. I remembered that terrible joke.
Yeah. Because it sounded familiar when I heard it.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, Norman is not really good, but he's not it's not the worst match I've ever seen in my life. It's not as bad as the match before it, No.
Well, you've got a few people in the match that you have some feelings about, certainly one way or the other.
Terry Funk says that Norman has the head of a buffalo and the body of Roseanne. That's wonderful. Classy, Terry.
Yeah. And again, Terry's trying to figure out where the line is for him, where he's like, he needed somebody to really mentor him. And maybe he didn't have the ego strength to allow himself to be mentored. I don't know. He did seem like he was going into business for himself a few times. And but he's kind of like going straight forward. Oh, I've been hit like that, Ross, and that really hurts, and then going like, he didn't do that right. I could have done that better than him,
right.
That kind of thing.
But he plays the whole thing like he's like a weather forecaster. Like it's always with this like, hey, what's up? And like this twinkle in his eye, and none of it ever works. So this is your favorite era of Cactus Jack, right? That's what you're saying?
No. This is my introduction to Cactus Jack.
Okay.
My favorite era of Cactus Jack. And I just said, look.
With the tassels when he cut the shirt and then put the tassels in.
Okay, he didn't cut a shirt, you son of a bitch. All right, he wore a legit fucking poncho.
No,
all right.
He took the bottom of the shirt and the sleeves and cut it and then like braided it with beads. That's what he fucking did, and I've seen it before. The poncho is cool, yeah.
The poncho's cool. All right, I'm pro poncho. All right, I am a pink.
Yeah.
The Sickos Club understands what I'm talking about. I am a pink poncho boy. Okay. I'm a member of the fucking secret order of the Pink Poncho Boys.
Absolutely.
All right. We don't fuck around with our poncho talk. So don't you dare contradict me on this.
Yeah. So Cactus Jack, my thoughts were, it's just interesting because here you get Cactus Jack Manson and he's like this rough and tumble, not really, I don't know if he's a cowboy, outlaw, bad guy, badass. And you can, like, it's a generic version of a character. It's like he's kind of, just slotting himself into a role. He's not there yet. And it's interesting to me because if you look, take anybody, if it's Shane Douglas, if it's, you watch Stunning Steve Austin and you can see little bits of Stone Cold, but not a lot, but little bits. But with Cactus Jack or Mick Foley, it's like, if you think of where he is here and then the layers and the depth of what Mankind, Cactus Jack, the three faces of Foley, all that stuff. It's like you would never think he'd end up. It's like he's on this logical path, but then he just veers off into, because of timing, because of the Attitude Era, because of, losing to WCW, maybe they let him go wild with it. It's just interesting to me because it's like, if you look at this, I would never in a million years think he'd end up where he was doing SpaghettiOs commercials, doing Santa Claus, just any of it. It's like, other than the hardcore aspect,
Well, you would never know what his genuine personality is. That's for sure. I don't even know. Did he have Bang Bang yet?
I don't think he did.
Did he do that? No. Okay. So he doesn't even have that yet. So
he's relatively handsome here. Like he's young.
He's just much thinner.
Much. Yeah. Well, being thin doesn't make him handsome. I'm just saying
it doesn't. No,
but he's got teeth. But his hair's not all.
But he's got teeth. Yeah, he hasn't mangled his body. He can walk straight. Stuff like that. Just stuff like that. But I would say people don't. I think a lot of people don't understand. Cactus actually had 2 runs in WCW. So he was there in 89 and 90. Okay, and he came in. He was introduced like a jobber, like he was part of a jobber tag team. They lost, and then his gimmick was he would beat the shit out of the guy who lost. So he would always like do that running elbow he would throw the guy to the outside, pull up the mat, and then he'd drop an elbow on his tag team partner after his tag team partner lost them the match. And so he was kind of being built in this very interesting way, but then he leaves, and he's in Global for a little while. He's doing some other stuff. Then he comes back to WCW as that angle where they're doing the presents for Sting.
Right.
And that's where he comes back with Abdullah the Butcher, and they start this bigger, he comes back much more significant, a bit heavier, really some more padding in the thighs and ass so he can take those bumps without killing himself.
And nothing gets a guy over like bringing him in a box, as we all know.
Yes, as Jim Cornette famously said. So Cactus Jack tries to do, I believe, a sunset flip. Norman just sits on him and pins him. Yeah. So it was short enough that I didn't care. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. It was just there. But it was only like 5 minutes long. So. So Gordon Solie is backstage with Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express. Now, what does he say? The Midnights have had more matches with the Rock and Roll Express than they've done Hello Dolly on Broadway. And that's how I felt watching it too. It's for the most heated rivalry of the 2 legendary tag teams. It's just like, fuck, dude, I do not need to see this again, ever again. That's it. An angle that had been running since like 1984. This is 1990. Like they literally started as rivals when Dennis Condrey was still in the Midnight Express, and they were all in Mid-South. That's where it started, you know? Then at some point it gets brought over to Crockett, like 85, 86, somewhere around there. And they had made so much money across the South running this program. They had worked so many house shows. They had worked, Clash of Champions. They had worked all this stuff. It is not a matter of having a good match because these guys are going to have a good match. If they had a bad match, that would be more notable because they have no excuse to have a bad match. They know each other. They're practically married.
Yeah.
And so I could care less about seeing another one of these matches.
And I've only been on this show for like 6 months, and I think I've seen like 6 matches between those guys, Yep. Yeah. It's like I'm done. And I get the impression that Jim Herd is the new guy, and he says, well, what works? Well, we know this works. You know what I mean? We know this is a classic. Throw it out, do it again. Meh. I don't know. One thing of note, Stan Lane says that Jim Cornette stole Ivana from Trump, which I guess, I don't know.
Which is hilarious because it was all over the National Enquirer that Trump had been cheating on Ivana with Marla Maples. I know this because my grandmother, who I spent every Saturday with, bought the National Enquirer like it was fucking.
When my grandma
Bible.
died, she might have been a little bit of a hoarder, like not a full-on hoarder. And there's just like stacks and stacks of National Enquirers. Every time we go over for Christmas, and we would just sit there and like drink punch and eat or read National Enquirers.
I would sit at my grandma's house and read the Enquirer, read People magazine, and do scratch tickets with her, and then watch WCW and WWF Superstars.
That's awesome.
That was what I did.
And they would have just like, we dug through the celebrities' trash, and this is what we found. It's like, I don't know. I mean, that's everything now. That's all the news.
Yeah, when we all found out in America years later that Trump had been, the guy from the National Enquirer had actually been trying to help him get elected. That was like no surprise because it's like, if you read that shit in the 90s, Donald Trump was like front page on the Enquirer
every time,
every week at least, Well, you couldn't get more than every week. Never mind.
So at one point, referee Nick Patrick gets into it with Stan Lane. He gets into it with Corny. Corny's doing the fisticuffs thing. Yeah, the match, my notes just say, this match goes on for fucking ever. And that's
20 minutes long.
Yeah. There's somebody with a sign that says, we've heard enough, spelled H-E-R-D. So,
yes. Okay. I felt so proud of myself because I never noticed any of this shit. Okay. But there is somebody that says that has a sign that says we've heard enough, but it's spelled H-E-R-D like Jim Herd. So like the observer crowd is in the audience. Okay. In North Carolina, and they already do not like Jim Herd.
Right.
That's already circulating.
But was he like an on-air presence at all or no?
He came out like at a Clash of Champions to make an announcement or something, but no,
like,
not in any like significant way.
I remember K. Allen Fry, and I remember who else was there? There was somebody else that was like, they ran through a few guys. Maybe it was Herd.
Yeah.
Like I vaguely remember
Herd.
those guys on TV, but
It went from Herd to Kip Allen Fry to Watts to Ole Anderson for like a second.
When Watts takes over and he says, we're not going to do any of that macabre shit because he doesn't know how to say macabre. That's like one of my all-time classic wrestling moments.
Also, very funny to hear Bill Watts do commentary when he's in Mid-South because, he owns the fucking territory, right? And he cannot pronounce anybody's name. So he calls Jim Duggan, Jim Dugan constantly. He calls Ted DiBiase, Ted DiBiase. Like it's
like he's just reading it. Yeah.
Yeah. He just gets everybody's name wrong.
So
boy.
Okay. So then it goes backstage with Gordon Soley to the weirdest fucking Road Warriors interview. Animal's got this bright blue frosting makeup on and no facial hair. And it's
what the fuck?
It's so weird, dude. That's all I can say. I mean, it's like when I just shaved a couple weeks ago and it's like, what happened? You're a big baby. It's just odd.
They had done this badass angle. I don't know if it was at a Clash of Champions or something where the Skyscrapers, but the Skyscrapers were a totally different team at the time. It was Sid and Dan Spivey.
Okay.
Showed up and just beat the fucking shit out of the Road Warriors with chairs. Like, fucking annihilated them. That's how I saw it as a kid. If I saw it now, I'd be like, oh, those are... whatever.
Right.
You know, like... But
Hawk
they
gets up after one hit or whatever, 2 hits.
They had bent chairs over their heads and shit. I mean, it looked great. And this was supposed to be the blow off to their feud. Except right at the beginning of the show, Jim Ross had said that Dan Spivey is injured.
Mm-hmm.
So Dan Spivey's not there. Except the other problem is that Sid Udi had a punctured lung and had been out since right after that angle was filmed. And he had been replaced by Mean Mark Callis, who would go on to be known as The Undertaker.
And
however, they also
over by Buzz Sawyer.
Right. Who they now needed to replace Dan Spivey, who was the only original member of this fucking thing to begin with some masked dude who they never name.
No, they don't even try to give him a name. Do you know who it is?
I think it might be Mike Enos from the Destruction Crew. Beverly.
Is he that tall?
Bo Beverly. Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know. That was the one thing that threw me. He was kind of tall. So I was like, was Mike Enos that tall?
And Animal refers to Sting as his brother in paint, which I think Sting calls Vampiro his brother in paint, right? Years later in WCW.
Yeah.
Sure, It's just a coincidence, but... And the only other thing I have in my notes basically is that Hawk pretty much cuts a promo. He is like the early Scott Steiner. Like, just Hawk's fucking insane. Those guys are like a couple of shock absorbers, but we're like super shock absorbers. Just like...
But he's a great talker, though.
He
like,
is.
I think Hawk is a fantastic interview.
He's hilarious.
Animal can't say shit.
No.
Like, Animal is just always trying to like say one quick thing and give it to Hawk.
Generic tough guy. And Hawk's funny it's funny because he is such a tough guy, but he's goofy as shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's what works.
He's so clever. Like, Hawk is so clever. And so Hawk cuts this amazing promo, and then he throws it to Paul Ellering. And what I realized watching this is like, Paul Ellering was fucking lame. Like, his promos are
not here. He's not.
It's not that I don't like him. It's like his promo compared to Hawk's is just terrible.
Yeah. Why did they have him finish it?
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't
and
work,
so this is all building to that epic Teddy Long, Paul Ellering match, hair versus hair of two balding guys at Capital Combat in May. So we don't know that when we're watching it, but it's no longer going to be about the Road Warriors and the Skyscrapers. That's for goddamn sure.
No. So it is a Chicago street
fight
with no weapons and hardly any. It barely even goes outside the ring. It's basically just a Texas Tornado match. Road Warriors come out piggybacking. So, okay, the Road Warriors walk out on the stage. They stand there for a minute. 2 motorcycles come out. They get on the motorcycles and ride 10 to 15 feet to the ring, maybe tops, and then get
it's a very
off
small, small aisle. Yeah.
Total waste of time. Not Hawk. Animal is wearing like jeans that I think he got from like a Samantha Fox video. Like they're ripped up from the thighs all the way down to the knees. And there's like those, you know what I'm talking about? Where it's just like these vertical cuts or horizontal cuts. There's nothing tough about them at all. They did not look cool in 1990. They look even less cool now. I don't know what he's thinking. It's ridiculous.
It's pre-ripped acid wash jeans.
Yeah.
Like they're
pre-ripped.
Samantha Fox. That's a good shout,
right?
Because Samantha Fox had been a big deal for like 10 seconds, like
right, yeah,
in 1988.
So Animal wants to have some fun. Doom comes down at some point wearing tuxes. Fucking Ron Simmons in white cowboy boots, which is awesome.
Those dudes looked badass.
Yeah, dude.
Like you're watching a street fight. Mean Mark Callis is in the street fight.
Mm-hmm.
The Road Warriors, like still prime Road Warriors, are in the street fight.
And your eyes are on
Enos
Doom.
is the masked Skyscraper. I have confirmed this.
Okay.
And you would think that would be cool to watch, but then fucking Butch Reed in a white tux comes out
dude.
with those fucking badass sunglasses.
They look
and Ron
awesome.
Simmons in white cowboy boots and a tuxedo comes out. That was cooler than the match.
Yeah.
Way cooler. And then they're like sitting there, Teddy Long. So the Skyscrapers get beat to shit. These guys just get
basically.
pummeled.
It's not even,
The Road Warriors are like, we're not selling for you. Fuck you. Like, it's a very one-sided battle.
Yeah, it's moderately exciting, but it's not a good match at all. It's like about 5 minutes, and they hit a doomsday device and they get the pin.
Yep. On Mike Enos, the Mass Skyscraper.
I'm never going to have another opportunity to talk about this because we always cover old stuff, but Mean Mark is a stupid name to me, or at least it was in 1990 when I was a kid, okay? Now I think Mean Mark is kind of a cool name, but it makes me think of Big Bill. And this is I'm never going to get to wax philosophical about Big Bill. So here's my thing.
Please.
I think Big Bill's a good wrestler. I think Big Bill has all the components. I think Big Bill is really good on the mic. He's charismatic. He's a good wrestler. I don't think that Big Bill is ever going to be a world champion. It's not likely to happen. So you might think to yourself, well, of course not with a name like Big Bill, but it's not going to happen anyway. If his name was, whatever, something cool, Skullduggery, it would be a waste of a cool name because he's never going to go anywhere. He's never going to do anything. But you are always going to remember that dude's name was Big Bill. Remember Big Bill? Fuck yeah. I always liked Big Bill. Big Bill, he was better than people gave him credit for. So in 1990, a name like that I thought was corny as shit. I thought it was stupid. But in the year of our Lord 2026, I think it's a fucking cool. I like those kind of names. I like those kind of gimmicks.
Yeah,
that's all.
It's very memorable.
He sounds like
a neighborhood. He sounds like a neighborhood bully.
It sounds like a Jim Croce song, is what it sounds like.
There you go. Big bad Leroy Brown or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like,
I like all that. I would say with the guy's real name is Mark Calloway. I think Mark
Bill's real name
Callis
is Mark Calloway. What's the odds? Yeah, I know.
Get out of here. I would say that. I like Mark Callis. Okay. Mean Mark.
Yeah,
cool
because
name,
it's
fine enough for
hard.
WCW. Because Mark Calloway wanted to stay in WCW. And he has famously said that when he he'd only signed a 1-year deal. And so when they went to see if he was going to extend his contract or not, Ole Anderson said, look, you're never going to make any money in this business. You just need to.
Really?
You're just never going to. I don't want to give you a raise.
Yeah, because he was Mean Mark then. That wasn't a cool name in 1990. Looks like
it's not. So
Yeah.
he and true to Ole's word, Mark never did shit.
No, Mark
Never did a goddamn thing. Definitely didn't become one of the most successful gimmicks of all time.
Never. Nope. And a huge asshole.
Racist.
Next up, Jim Ross says that the balance of the card will be for a championship. And it's at this point I realize that like most WCW pay-per-views from the early 90s, 90% of this show is a tag team match. Pretty much the whole show is a tag team match. Or all tag team matches. This is where Terry Funk is your goofy drunk uncle, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, I don't know. Next match is Brian Pillman and Tom Zenk versus the Freebirds. Go on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do we even want to talk about this? Which is also a rematch from, or this is the first match that was later a rematch in Capital Combat, right?
No, the
match
at Capital Combat is the Midnight Express versus Pillman and Zenk.
They
had just had their U.S. tag title tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the Pillman and Zenk were kind of the surprise winners of the tournament. I think it was a way to like show the audience that they were somewhat significant. Z-Man.
They tried so hard with that guy.
They did. And when you look at him, like you're like, he's big. He is a genuinely big guy. He's, he looks like a stripper from the 80s. And
Eric Bischoff. Basically.
Yeah. He looks like Eric Bischoff's like football player brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they had given him a short television title reign. He had beat Arn Anderson and then lost it back like 3 weeks later. But just before this, I think. Pillman and Zenk have these titles. I just couldn't give a shit about them. I mean,
the team? No.
Yeah, I just didn't. They came out. I just couldn't care.
No. And so one thing that's weird is that Pillman's not wearing the Bengals tights. And I think this is the only time I've ever seen, other than like, later on in his career, the belt is so big on Pillman that it's like the strap is hanging off the back, which I think is just bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And the Freebirds, Jim Ross keeps saying, once again, WCW really showing how cool and hip they were in 1990 makes an Alice Cooper reference 2 times in this match.
Yeah.
Like
Jim Ross is just like, man, I know pop culture.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, baby.
Yeah.
So I don't think my notes. Oh, the ladies come in and they do the Freebirds hair. That was kind of, I actually don't mind this era of the Freebirds with Hayes and Garvin.
I love it.
I like it. And I like that it's basically Chris Jericho. It's like, you know what I mean? Like they're over the hill pretending to be young dudes, just wishing that people would accept them as young guys. And they are not. They look like they're wearing girdles. Like it's hilarious. I like it though.
I think that there is more self-awareness in the Freebirds than there was in the last 2 years of Chris Jericho.
I think so
honestly.
Too. Yeah.
Like, I think the Freebirds are very aware that they're over the hill and that the act is tired.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just get more audacious and ridiculous about it as time goes. Like I alluded to this when we talked about Capital Combat, because later in the year, they have Brad Armstrong playing Fantasia, this like weird masked guy who joins the Freebirds. They have DDP and they have Big Daddy Dink, Sir Albert Humperdinck.
Yeah, Oliver Humperdinck. And DDP is a good fit for the Freebirds.
Perfect fit.
I think that's cool. Like, I mean, Michael Hayes, there is nothing better than like Michael Hayes doing the moonwalk and doing the high knee strut, just pissing off the crowd, just stalling and stalling. I just think, I mean, that era of Michael Hayes is great. Now he's an asshole. He's probably an asshole then too.
I know he's not a great guy or anything, but I have a certain amount of begrudging Michael Hayes nostalgia because he was a lot of fun to watch. As a character, he was top notch. I always thought Jimmy Garvin was just like his little tag along buddy who, you know, he didn't have anywhere near Michael's same charisma, and he pretty much just puffed up his hair and went, yeah. That's pretty much all he ever does.
But I like Jimmy Garvin when is he with Precious or Sunshine? I don't know. I don't know a lot about that, but it's like
Precious,
the sparkly coat with the white gloves, and he would talk shit, and then he'd be like, "And it's not my fault." Like, I love those guys. So
yeah, that's like Texas Jimmy that came over into Crockett, and then he's a babyface for a little while, and then he joins the Freebird. And I think he is the thing that grounds them in the lameness of what they actually are. Because Jimmy has no fucking idea what he's doing with the rocker stuff. No, he has no fucking idea.
And he is awesome. Now, didn't he like retire and become a pilot or something, like an airline pilot? Like just totally went on living his life, you know?
Yep.
Shaved his head, cut off those. He had beautiful hair. So anyway, this match, it's good enough. But this is my notes say, like the rest of the card, it's just sort of there. Yeah.
This match
is just
sort of there.
Yeah.
It's Brian Pillman doing the Brian Pillman shit. It's Tom Zink doing the Tom Zink shit. It's fine. There's nothing compelling about it now.
Yeah, no.
It's just white meat bullshit.
There's Lexus King's dad. That's pretty much it.
Pretty much. I mean, I gotta say, Brian Pillman, as a kid, I liked him a lot more as Flying Brian. And looking at him now, I am like, yeah, this guy had a lot of work to do. I mean, he really had a lot of work to do.
Yeah. But they pushed him, man. Like,
they did.
If you bought a pack of WCW trading cards, you were getting 3 Brian Pillmans. I mean,
yes. Big time. Right.
They pushed him hard.
Him, PN News. You would get a lot of cards of PN News.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the Freebirds get the crowd going for the first time in literally the entire show. Like the crowd got up a little bit for Jim Cornette and the Midnights for a minute.
Yeah.
And then Cornette they kind of died again.
Tries. Yeah.
Nobody's seen the Midnights versus the Rock and Roll Express more than
Greensboro,
Charlotte, North Carolina, Greensboro. Yes. Nobody's seen them more than these people. So they're not impressed. But this match, for just a minute, the Freebirds get everybody riled up. Michael Hayes particularly gets everybody pissed off and chanting against him. Tom Zink and Brian Pillman make the most of it by encouraging the Freebird sucks chant at the beginning. That's honestly the most notable thing that happens.
Yeah. They put the Freebirds jackets on and do a little dance, and that's pretty much it.
That's right. So Pillman and Zink steal their coats. So the girls are supposed to be disrobing the Freebirds, but the Freebirds are looking out over the ropes at the crowd, and Pillman and Zink
have enough time to put their coats on.
And well, they don't do it right. They try to, and then it falls off Pillman. And they chase the Freebirds out of the ring, and they do this whole little thing. They get some good heat in the beginning, and then it's all gone by the end of the match.
Because Zink is terrible.
Zink is oh my God.
He's a former Mr.
soulless vulture. This man is
he's like a piece of Wonder Bread.
He's a Sears catalog model.
Yeah.
He's nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
He's nothing. And I hate saying that because, I know the guy put a lot of time into the business and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I also, as I understand it, he was very bitter that he did not become a bigger deal in the wrestling business. But watching this stuff, you see why.
I tend to, as I've grown older, I don't like to shit on guys too much because I like to think, well, if you're there, you clearly had something that brought you to the table. So you're a better wrestler than me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously. So, it's I don't want to shit on him too bad, but it's Zink is just not, it's just not he can't. If it was a thing where he was a bad wrestler, but he had a lot of personality, that'd be one thing, but there's nothing.
So I think you've made the most important point about this entire match is Tom Zink kind of proving a theory. Being a good wrestler with no personality is worse than being a bad wrestler with a big personality.
Right.
I think that's true. Yeah. Like the Freebirds are so basic compared to either one of these guys athletically. But they're so much more compelling.
Yeah.
Like Pillman's bland as fucking everything else too. If you heard his promos from this time, and thank God he didn't cut one here, they're boring. It's just you think that you're going to.
His hair.
It's the same.
He looks like Lamb Chop. He's he's not. But he does. He's just, and it's but then Pillman later on obviously is groundbreaking. I love later Pillman, but this is not it. But it's the same thing with Mick Foley. That's kind of what I was trying to get at is it's you take these guys. I mean, it's, the square peg in the round hole, but it's these guys weren't even pegs. They were creating something new later on. But early in their careers, when you try to fit them in these generic roles, it's just boring. It's just doesn't work. Cactus Jack's not boring, but.
Well, you would have no idea, what you're saying. You would have no idea that this Brian Pillman would even become Hollywood Blonde's Brian Pillman.
Right. No,
I'm a big fan of Hollywood Blonde's Brian Pillman.
Yes, I fucking love the Hollywood Blondes.
They're one of the big what ifs of pro wrestling is if they had stayed together another year.
Mm-hmm.
They could have run the WCW.
They could have, and I don't remember who said it, but somebody brought up that it's a shame that. How the fuck was Paul Roma in the Horsemen, but the Hollywood Blondes never were? That. Imagine Flair, Arn, and the Blondes. Fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Just a total waste. Just terrible. Anyway, speaking of the Four Horsemen, the next match.
Hold on. We didn't get to the finish.
It was such a good segue.
It was.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. So they had this bland ass match that's very just by the numbers, babyface heel shit. And at the end, the referee loses control of the match, and Jim Garvin is going to DDT Tom Zink. And here's what I hate the most. Okay. I can buy a flying body press as the guy is hitting you from the top rope and bundling you up and pinning you.
Momentum.
Right?
Yeah.
As a momentum pin, it's not you get hurt by this. Okay. I just don't buy it. And the way Jim Garvin has to take this from Pillman, he's got another dude in a DDT position. And so Pillman hits him high. He can't bundle him up. He can't because Tom Zink has to get out of the fucking way. And so Jim Garvin takes a back bump and acts like he's knocked out.
Right. And he weighs twice as much as Pillman, right?
And Pillman's just laying on top of him, and then the ref turns around and makes a 3 count. I just don't buy the flying body press is oh, that knocked him out.
Well, Blake, maybe if you consider that he had over 14 throat surgeries by the time he was 17, you'd recognize the toughness of Brian Pillman.
He's got a bachelor's degree in Medicare.
They bring that up all the time. They bring it up with the Steiners too. Well, would you believe that Rick Steiner's got a bachelor's or what is it? He's got a master's in education. I don't know how that works every fucking time.
Yep.
So the next match is the Steiners, and you're going to have to bring me up to speed on why Ole was back. The Steiners versus the Andersons, Arn and Ole. And Ole came back to the Horsemen? Or he never left at this point, or what?
No, Ole had left by this point. So Ole was an original Horseman in 85 and up to 87. And basically the Horseman kicked him out because he chose to go spend time with his family instead of showing up to be part of the Horsemen 1 week or something. And they replaced him with Lex Luger. And then that lasts for like a year. And then Luger turns face and Barry Windham turns on him. Barry Windham takes that Ole spot. Then Arn
I love Windham in the Horsemen, by the way. Like,
oh my God.
Oh
my God. That it's such a short run too. But like Windham as the US champ, Flair as the world champ, and Arn and Tully. Come on.
It's like the only point where they win all the belts, right? Like that's the only era.
That's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So then the barrel ran real dry. So like the Brainbusters give their notice to WWF. Then WWF leaks that Tully failed a drug test.
Right.
Then Arn Anderson has to come back by himself instead of with Tully because WCW won't touch Tully all of a sudden. Then Arn Anderson gets screwed on the offer they originally made him because he's not with Tully anymore. So he takes way less money than he was supposed to make. Arn comes back by himself. Barry Windham's not there because his dad and brother have just been busted in that money laundering scheme. And Barry left WWF where he was the Widowmaker.
Right.
He leaves WWF. He disappears for a while. Sid is not a member of the Horsemen yet. So for a while, the Horsemen is Flair, Sting, Arn, and Ole. Because
Bizarre.
that's who they had. Right. And Ole barely wrestled at this point. He's pretty much
barely wrestles in this match.
Oh boy. So yeah.
Ole's tired. Like they do like 3 spots and Ole's like, he's like doubled over breathing heavy.
He's blown up pretty bad. So they have an interview before this match with the Steiners. And you see, this is a much better interview than the one they did at Capital Combat, which is one of the worst promos I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
You think you're going to get a title match? Well, you're not. And he's talking about the opponents they're going to give a title match to later that night.
Yes.
Rick does most of the talking in this one, and Rick he's doing kind of a stuttering thing. It's almost like the precursor to Bubba Ray Dudley.
Yeah.
Where he had been playing kind of this mentally deficient guy, with Kevin Sullivan and the Varsity Club and all that stuff. And then Scott talks a little bit, but not a lot. And then they just get to the ring.
Scott's just a fucking meathead.
Just a dumbass jock roid freak. That's who he is.
I was going to say he's like all the jocks that we went to high school with, but it's like he actually did go to my high school. So he really is like obviously later on Big Papa Pump shit. I love that stuff. But this is not, this era I don't care for. I mean, I love the Steiners, but it's just, you can't, it's not. He's not
after he has that horrendous WWE run after WCW, and then he goes to TNA.
Mm-hmm.
There's the math promo, but like I just saw a bunch of his promos from then, and he's actually kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to watch him wrestle anymore.
No,
but
not
like,
at that point.
Like he had destroyed his body with steroids, period. But like, he is more of his actual personality comes out, and you see that he's actually kind of funny, and he's actually kind of has a charm and a charisma to him.
Yeah.
That kind of comes out as Big Papa Pump, but you're also scared of Big Papa Pump.
So Bill, who's in the chat, my buddy Billy,
yes.
He and I at one point had fantasy booked. Obviously alternate reality. If Hogan hadn't been around and Steiner had been Big Papa Pump and been the third man, that would have been a whole, whatever alternate universe that is, that's where I want to visit. That could have been a really cool NWO. You know what I mean?
Also the universe where they had Steiner win the Royal Rumble.
Right?
Where, they were seriously eyeing him for that, and he just wouldn't leave Rick behind.
Sorry. Tom Zenk looks like an out of work lifeguard.
That is so true. That is so true. Like, he would be the 30-year-old playing a high school kid on Saved by the Bell. You know what I mean? Like, just fucking, he could have been AC Slater if AC Slater wasn't Mario Lopez.
Yeah, totally. So yes, they thought about Steiner in the Rumble. Yeah. Do you think that's legit?
I do. I could see it. I could totally see it. At the time, Scott Steiner was like one of the top 5 most exciting guys in America.
He could do a Frankensteiner.
He could do the Frankensteiner and just all kinds of freaky athletic shit. So getting to this match, the Andersons are teaming up. Ole and Arn had no, it's not on you. It's
just on the magic of the Steiner brothers.
The magic of the Steiner brothers. They were the coolest thing about WCW to me when I first started watching. It wasn't Ric Flair, like as much as I came to love Ric Flair. And I loved him 1990, you know, like I did. It was like, who the fuck is this grandpa, you know? And then over time I saw him wrestle enough to where I was like, no, he's really good. I loved Lex, I loved Flair, and I loved the Steiners. They were my instant favorites. Sting reminded me a lot of the Ultimate Warrior, and I was already very much an Ultimate Warrior guy. So Sting, even his music kind of sounds like the Ultimate Warrior music.
Yeah.
I mean, they were patterning his character as kind of the cross-company rival of the Ultimate Warrior.
For obvious reasons, yeah.
Yes, and in retrospect, Sting is vastly superior to the Warrior in every single way. But the Steiners are so exciting. There is nobody throwing dudes around, doing the Steiner line clotheslines that look like they just decapitate dudes.
And they just hit hard. Yeah.
The Road Warriors had been such a huge part of Crockett and of WCW for so long that when the Steiners came around and the Road Warriors left, you really didn't miss them that much because the Steiners were
filled the void.
And they kind of hit harder and they kind of were doing crazier shit.
I mean, the Road Warriors, like, obviously when you're a kid, there's nothing cooler and they're legends and they are fucking Mount Rushmore guys. But the Road Warriors, they don't really do anything. They just punch. And I mean, when they do drop kicks, it's mind blowing, but it's like all they do is throw clotheslines and punch guys and throw them out of the ring. The Steiners fucking wrestled. You know, like you got good ass matches out of the Steiners.
And they innovated a lot.
Yeah.
They innovated a lot. They did a lot of shit you had never seen, like the Steiner recliner or the Steiner, whatever that crazy suplex into the fucking power. What was that?
What is it? Like a Steiner driver or something? It's
like a Steiner driver. It's like Brian Cage has done it.
Yeah. That's fucking
It's similar to what Mark Davis does now.
Yeah.
But Scott Steiner was the first guy I ever saw do it, and it was 30 years ago.
He's the first guy I ever saw do a fucking Hurricane Rana or Frankensteiner or whatever. Before I saw Lucha or Japanese guys or anything.
Or Ricky Morton or Shawn Michaels had already done it by that point. But the thing is...
but I hadn't seen that at that. I mean, I'm just...
Right, no, neither
maybe they did it, but I didn't see it, you know?
No, but the thing is, they did it totally differently. Like, to me, a Hurricane Rana is like you jump up, and they would kind of sit on the guy's shoulders and then flip him over.
Dude, Justin, our buddy Justin knows. He knows all the differences between all that stuff.
Yeah, so I think a Hurricane Rana at the time was like you would kind of sit on the shoulders and pull them over. They would kind of hold you up in a powerbomb position, and then they would pull you over. Whereas nobody did it like Scott. Nobody does it like Scott now, where they throw you off the ropes, jump up straight up. It's fucking
fast,
yank you like they broke your fucking neck.
And nobody did it with 275 pounds of muscle on their frame. I mean, just crazy. There you go. The Rana is with the pin. Frankensteiner is no pin. So Rana actually, okay. Cool.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you. The only way we could talk about this match this long is by not talking about the actual match, because Arn Anderson is a man without a country in this fucking match. He is just trying to keep shit together. He has to take all the goddamn bumps. And I don't know what Ole committed to. Okay. Like, I really don't know. Cause like you said, he's pretty blown up after about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Scott grabs this gigantic man. I mean, this guy wrestled as The Rock, Alan Rogowski, which is his real name. Rock Rogowski in the AWA, like in the 60s. He's a giant, old school motherfucker. Okay. And Scott picks him up off his feet, like in a bear hug type position. Then he does a crotch grab of some type. And Ole's in the air.
Yeah.
And then Scott throws him over his fucking head. And Ole rolls out of the ring. And I think Ole's like, that's it. That's
It's
it.
like,
That was my one. I'm taking one back bump. That's it.
Right. And it's like, well, then you're getting the biggest fucking back bump we can do. Holy shit.
This day, I don't know that Scott didn't deadlift his ass.
Dude,
like,
I don't think he's cooperating. No, it's
because Ole doesn't look like he knows what to do, honestly. No. And then Scott throws him clean. Like he flips all the way over. It's not dangerous. Like,
right.
Fucking Jesus Christ. Like, I'm like, I've never seen Ole. I doubt Ole Anderson has ever taken a bump like that. That's insane. Ole takes that one bump. Arn basically just gets the living fuck kicked out of him. Yeah. They do a heat segment for a little bit that's extremely nothing happening, really. It's just typical Anderson stuff.
It's like, it's the methodical pick a part of your body and make you miserable with it, you know?
And
Classic.
I gotta say, I miss that shit.
It's
I
good.
really miss that kind of work.
Even both of them, even Ole does it.
Yes, and they attack the arm. They attack the arm. So I think it's Scott that they're attacking his arm.
Yeah, because by the end of it, he's like all messed up.
Yeah, right. He's like holding his arm. There are a few spots where I was like, God damn, did they like break his arm? But like, the match basically goes for about 16 minutes. Ole tries to do a backdrop during a double team where again, the ref has lost control of the match and Rick Steiner just small packages him.
Yeah, it's they don't even do a move to finish it. Like,
it's not a typical Steiner Brothers match. We also massively fucked up, Degree, because we didn't describe what happened with Doom in the Skyscraper or in the Legion of Doom and the Road Warriors.
Oh yeah, we were also caught up. Well, they got into a fight at the end of the match.
This is what was exciting about the match was that they walk out in these tuxedos.
Rewind.
We're rewinding 2 matches, okay? But at the end of that match, Doom and the Road Warriors get in a huge brawl, and I don't think they ever wrestled each other. I don't think it ever went anywhere.
Like a payoff. That would have been cool.
I think the Road Warriors probably gave notice sometime shortly after this, and then they just moved everybody. They moved Doom back to the Steiners.
Right. That would have been really
But they
cool.
did get those tuxes ripped off, but seeing those 4 motherfuckers beat the shit out of each other was like, there's your program.
Yeah,
there's a program.
Cool. That would have been really cool.
Holy shit. Anyway, that happened. So, those beautiful tuxedos got abused.
All right, so we're at the main event. Gordon Solie is backstage with Lex Luger. Yeah, the Steiners are the perfect team for the time. Absolutely. And like you said, they're really filled in that spot when the Road Warriors left, but still meshed well with the NWA. So we are backstage. Luger's wearing a track jacket. He's doing that 2-finger promo. Says he's in the best shape of his career. His hair is conditioned, but he's not the Cottony Goose, baby, because the next thing we see is fucking Ric Flair. Full effect. Woman is with him. Nancy Benoit. She's Nancy. Does she have what? I don't know what her maiden name is.
She'd be Nancy Sullivan at the time.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Really just an adorable person. She's got a lot of personality. She's fun.
Her makeup's she went full Scary Sherry.
Yeah,
for this match.
And I didn't realize she was with Flair that long.
You know, I'm very confused on the timeline on this one because I think Ric Flair saw her with Doom and went, "I want her."
Maybe, yeah.
I think that's what happened. Doom had just been rolled out like a short time ago. Like they were barely around by the time they got, I mean, they only wore the masks for like a month or 2.
Right.
Like they didn't wear them very long. And then she was done with them at that point. I mean, but this thing where Teddy Long, you know, his team, the Skyscrapers, had just gotten decimated by the Road Warriors.
And that's when he's
looking at them going, "Hey, can you help me out here so they don't beat my ass?" And they had press slammed Teddy Long into Doom, and I think that's where the Teddy Long Doom hookup starts.
They did. That's right. We totally glazed over all of that. We're terrible podcasters.
We are. I mean, I think that was understood. But
so the match starts. They do their intros. Luger's wearing that. Just neon was a brand new thing at that point. Ric Flair's looking like fucking cotton candy in that pink. And So Ric Flair always gets in people's faces, and he's always doing that. Oh, you tell your dad, you tell your mom, you tell whatever. Does Luger tell him to go fuck himself, or did I hear that?
I don't know. There was some kind of So as it's so funny because Nick Patrick's like, guys, this is the title. This is what you're fighting for. He shows it to both guys. He's like trying to talk to them, and they're just talking shit to each other, and they're not paying him no mind. And at one point, he's standing there like waiting for him to finish so he can finish his little spiel, and then he's like, he just does his spiel while they're talking shit.
Yeah.
This is a really intense match. It's a slow build main event style match where ordinarily, if the crowd had been elevated, they would have brought the crowd back down. This is what Triple H was always trying to do, but he's not good, so he couldn't do. Is you bring the crowd down, you start slow, and then you build back up. And that's, people would always bitch about Triple H's matches being so long. And the reason they bitched about him being so long is because they weren't interesting. Ric Flair, on the other hand, does so much little stuff here that shows you why he's the greatest of this time, certainly, and one of the greatest ever. Luger is taking no shit from Ric Flair. And I remember, it's funny how your memory kind of betrays you a little bit as time goes on, right? Because I remember Luger coming into this as a heel. And technically he hadn't really turned babyface.
Okay. Was he filling in for Sting at this point?
He was.
Okay.
This was supposed to be Sting and Flair. Sting and Flair.
How long before this was Sting injured?
Like 3 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
So Sting had won in 89. They did a big singles and tag tournament. And the winners of those tournaments were supposed to get title shots. And Sting won the singles tournament. And the Steiners won the tag tournament. And so Sting had just joined the Horsemen as a babyface, and they were all baby faces. And then the Horsemen had turned on Sting because he wouldn't give up his title shot against Flair. And I think the plan was to have Sting. And then later that same night that the turn happens, Sting blows out his patella, basically trying to climb a cage. And at a Clash of the Champions.
Okay.
And Flair jumps on him afterwards, not knowing that Sting is injured. That was like 3 weeks before all this.
Wow. Okay. No wonder why they brought RoboCop in.
Yeah. So, and that's where at Capital Combat they announced Sting's going to wrestle. He'll be back at the Great American Bash, so.
And so then is that when Sting wins the belt for the first time?
Yes. He wins it at the Great American Bash with a patriotic face paint and shit. Yep. So anyway, Luger's here.
And I just real quick, we covered the Super Bowl where Sting beats Luger for the title.
Yeah.
And we talked about
2 years after this.
And I don't need to dwell on it, but the whole Ric Flair and Lex Luger, to his credit, they are masters of the pre-match face-off shit talking. They're both great. Sometimes you can tell what they're saying, sometimes you can't, but Luger's usually more stoic. Flair's always trying to get under your skin. And as you're saying, it's those little things where it makes it seem so real. It makes it so much better and it just adds a layer to the story. Go on.
What they had done is, so the Horsemen had turned on Sting and he had gotten injured that same night. So they retconned it that Sting was injured by the Horsemen when they turned on him. And basically, Luger gets the shot because he's the number one contender because he's the U.S. champion, right? Which Jim Ross mentions, if Luger were to win the title, he'd be the first guy to hold both titles at the same time. And, Luger had been perpetually chasing Flair by this point. He had wrestled him at the Great American Bash 88. He had wrestled him at probably a million house shows.
Sure.
He had wrestled him a lot. He had main evented pay-per-views with him already. So Flair and Luger was pretty played out by this point, unless you put the belt on Lex.
Mm-hmm.
My whole thing was, what if you had put the belt on Lex, have Lex turn on Sting, and then have Sting win it off Lex?
Absolutely. That would have been cool.
That would have kind of closed a loop, honestly, that probably puts both guys on a different career trajectory. And I don't think Rick wanted that to happen.
No, and it took, because like you said, well, Luger wins about what, a year, 2 years after this then? Is that what you just said?
One year. About a year and a half.
And at that point, he doesn't even beat Flair for it because Flair goes to
He beats
WWF.
Wyndham for it.
Yeah, and it's just like a fucking fart in church. Like it's nothing at that point.
He wins the belt on famously the worst WCW show of all time.
Right.
The 1991 Great American Bash. The crowd's chanting, "We want Flair" the entire time.
Right.
And the title's held up. He faces Barry Windham in a tiny cage where you could just...
And it's not even the real belt because Flair took the belt. I mean, it just...
Right. It's a tag title that's spray painted.
But this match, to your point, to two of your points about, number one, building a fucking good match. This match is awesome. And I mean, I was texting you for all the shit that people have given Lex Luger over the years, myself included. Holy shit. Dude, this match is great. And maybe, I know Sting has always said that Flair, would guide him, slap me, hit your chest, kind of guide him through the match. Maybe Flair's guiding him, but Luger's doing the work, dude. This match is great, and the crowd gets really into it, and it's cool.
Lex is believable, which you can't teach, period. I
He's
mean,
an athlete.
You just either are or you are not. And Lex roided to the gills, but he's believable, very believable. And what I would say is the Warrior, we just reviewed the Royal Rumble 1990. The Warrior's reputation as a wrestler is very deserved. He's not good.
I don't think people complain enough about how bad the Warrior is.
Yeah, I honestly agree. After watching that match, I was like, that was so bad.
Because it's not just that he has no instincts. I mean, the Ultimate Warrior makes Tom Zenk look like fucking Danny Hodge. I mean, he's just horrible. He's so bad. But Luger is like, what if Luger had been in WWF and been the face painted Ultimate Warrior, who knows where history could have gone. We should do a show on fantasy booking.
Totally. If Lex Luger had been the Ultimate Warrior, I think he's a multi-time world champion.
Sure.
It's a totally different deal.
It would have been an absolutely different story.
What I would say is that, I mean, imagine if Jim Hellwig had been Big Van Vader, because that gimmick was created for him. Did you know that? So, I mean,
and he would have just been Baby Bull. So into the wrestling verse.
Yeah, totally. Well, we're going to have to do an episode based on that.
We actually probably should do an Into the Wrestling verse.
We should. What if Warrior had been Big Van Vader? What the fuck would Leon White have done?
Right.
And what if Lex Luger had been the Ultimate Warrior?
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's all sorts of directions you could go with that. That's wild.
And we haven't even mentioned the fact that this pay-per-view is sponsored by Ruse Tennis Shoes, which was one of the first things I had in my notes.
Yes, and they run during WCW programming. I used to watch Power Hour. And the Saturday night show, which was just called NWA World Championship Wrestling. I would watch, and then I'd watch Worldwide earlier. So, dude, check this out.
Dude, so wait, Saturday, what was there, like a 9:05 show and then a 6:05? Were they on both Saturday and Sunday at those times?
They were on. Yes.
Okay.
So,
because I was watching
Power
all
Hour,
that shit.
Power Hour would run on Friday night. Okay. And then it'd rerun at like 6 in the morning.
Okay.
In my part of the world. So that's your 9:05. Then Worldwide, which was a syndicated show, would run at 1 p.m. or 12 p.m. Sorry. 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. And that's when Superstars would come on. I'd watch an hour of Superstars. And then at the end of that hour, World Championship Wrestling would come on for another 2 hours. And
unless the Braves were playing.
Unless the Braves were playing. And then the next night, Main Event would run on the Superstation, and I would watch that. So I would get like 6 hours of WCW alone. And I'd get like 2 hours of WWF. So, I mean, I was watching all of it. I mean, everything I could get my hands on, I was watching. And my whole Saturday was pretty much devoted to wrestling, and I loved it. It was so awesome.
Yes. So anyway, what was the match?
Yeah, Lex Luger and Ric Flair.
Flair at one point. I'm just looking. Oh, shoot. So at one point, Jim Ross says, "This is a match. This is the NWA style. It's man on man and it's physical."
I'm so glad you remembered that, because I remember hearing that line and going, "We got to talk about that."
Yeah. That's great.
This is the NWA style. This is man on man. It's like, oh boy. And they were even in kind of a homoerotic position when he said it.
Because Flair's got Luger in a headlock, and Luger's so powerful that basically he's just giving Flair a piggyback ride is what it comes down to. Right. And it's like, okay, Jim.
Yep.
There, yeah. There are many layers to a wrestling show, and one of them is blatant homoeroticism.
Yes, of course.
And now it's just we're just more open about that now. But
yeah,
then they were hidden.
I've never found it to be an insult. I mean, I've just always been like, yeah.
No,
people.
Absolutely. It's funny because I remember talking about wrestling at work one time, and somebody was like, "Isn't that kind of gay?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay."
I don't know what it says about me, and I don't care either. I mean, like, it's never bothered me.
It's fine.
Yeah, totally, exactly.
I'm pretty comfortable with myself.
One thing I loved about Flair that really got Luger over more would be, and he did it with Sting too, was he would hit the chop, and Luger would sell the first one, and he'd go back, and then Flair chop him again, and Luger would like start muscling up, and Flair would realize the chop didn't work, and then he'd be like, "Ah, fuck," and
bag
start
off,
running away. But I love it's the fuck that really gets it over, where it's like, "Fuck, what do I do?"
And
like, what do I do?
Flair, again, and his pre-match shit talking, his in-match shit talking, and his like like just his cries of pain are just so horrible.
Oh God. Oh God.
So there's a point in this match where Luger's like kind of knocked out and he's slumped over the ropes, and then Sting comes out. And Sting is on the crutches with his leg all the way up to his thigh. And they do the thing where Sting comes in and he grabs him by the hair and get up. You're gonna, and totally fucking, you're in the moment, and Sting says, "You got to go kick his you know what." Like, you could have just said butt, dude. And that would have been
if he
fine.
had said butt or ass, it would have been so much better.
He didn't.
However,
yeah,
it's the best part of the match.
It is.
It really is.
So,
because everything else he's saying is he seems so genuine. Like, "What are you doing? Wake up! Go kick his you know what." If he had just said kick his butt, it would have been better. But like, yes. And then he slaps Lex across the face. And
he gets up, and then does Flair hit him? Because it's like Luger like looks at Flair, looks at Sting, looks at Flair, looks at Sting. And it's just like, it's building and building and building. And again, at this point, the crowd is fucking into it. I'm into it. And I watched it 3 days ago, Again, this was a good fucking match. Like,
well, and it's a great way to make something out of a terrible situation, which is Sting being injured. Is Sting and Luger have this tenuous relationship where it's been revealed they're friends, and now Luger's a heel, which automatically makes them like, what are we?
Right?
You're a bad guy. I'm a good guy. I'm the ultimate good guy. And so, and Luger kind of had no bottom he wouldn't sink to as the U.S. champion. And so, what I loved about it was Luger's pantomiming to the crowd. He is doing kind of some babyface shit during the match, which I didn't remember him doing.
I just thought he was a babyface. I didn't realize he was a heel.
Yeah. But this is the moment that seals the deal, where it's like Sting slaps him and wakes him up. Then the Horsemen know Flair's fucked at this point. So Ole and Arn run down, and they just run into the ring, and Luger, takes them both down. Sting can't really help him.
Right. They hit Sting with Ole grabs a crutch.
Yeah, because Sting's on a crutch, and Sting does a great job of kind of trying to get away from them as quickly as he can. And then the Horsemen realize, well, we can't physically overwhelm Lex, so we need to threaten his friend. And so they start surrounding Sting, and Luger has Flair in the rack. I mean, it's over if he keeps this up. And by the way, I was 10 watching this shit, okay? Your body can do all kinds of crazy shit at that age, okay? When you see the torture rack now, you're like, that move would hurt. That would really, really hurt.
Especially at the age of 49.
Yeah, I'm 45. Watching that shit now is like, no. But, Ric Flair was like 41 taking that move. So like, and I mean, wrestled another 15 years. And so like,
he wrestled more than someday we're going to review that retirement match. But anyway.
Yes. But yes, so Lex has Flair. Flair's trying not to give up. Woman knows he's fucked. Mm-hmm. The Andersons make a smart move, following very much in line with their characters. So they're surrounding Sting, and Lex drops Flair when he sees this and runs out and starts defending Sting. And the Horsemen the one thing is, should Lex have been counted out, or should Flair have been disqualified? Because Ole's just punching him at this point, right in front of the ref.
Yeah.
And The ref, Nick Patrick, did a great job of he's making the count and he gets to 9 and he's like,
yeah,
10.
Patrick, he's good. I liked him.
He did a good job of selling the emotion of what you'd be going through at this time.
He's the one that gets into it with Corny earlier too, doesn't he? Like, I like Nick Patrick at this point.
It's almost always Nick Patrick in those situations. I always thought he was great. But Lex gets counted out, bailing out Sting. And then Luger gets back in the ring. They overwhelm him. He gets DDT'd by Arn. He gets beat up pretty bad. And then the Steiners run down. And I don't think we really made too much mention, but a lot of the Road Warriors, the Steiners, the guys who would be the dudes with attitudes later, they have Sting's revenge armbands in solidarity with Sting. And so Luger didn't have one on. And so this was kind of the moment where he became a babyface.
Rick Steiner has a piece of paper with Sting's revenge written on it, taped to his chest. And at this point in the match, you realize that is taped on the turnbuckle where Sting is standing. And it's a cool shot. And to see the whole kind of thing laid out like that. It's like one of those rare occasions where it's like, oh shit, like you guys just stumbled into that, but it looks like it's intentional. Maybe it was, I don't know. And then it goes off the air, right?
Then it goes off the air.
Yeah. And
that's Wrestle War.
Kind of, how was it taken at the time? Because I'm watching this match and I'm like, man, I don't know what the fuck you guys are thinking, but you should have just called an audible and put the belt on Luger. Like
I think you should have you could have put the belt on Luger and had an all-time moment and then had another all-time moment when Luger turned on Sting.
But were people into this at the time or?
No, I don't think so. I think people were, I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, like I'm 10. I don't know anything about the Wrestling Observer. There's no internet. So I didn't have any friends who watched WCW. They all watched WWF if they watched it all. I would say watching it, I checked Cage Match before we came on and it's rated about a 6 for the event, which I would think is generous. Honestly, I think it's more of a 5 type show that is based solely around the main event and maybe the street fight, and the moments with Doom and the Road Warriors. There's some good moments in this show, but it's a pretty bland show overall. And I was going to ask you, so what is your takeaway from where WCW is at this time?
At this point?
Yeah.
I mean, knowing what and again, same thing. I don't really know that much either because I don't know what the history is. They just seem kind of disjointed. They kind of don't seem like they know what their direction is exactly. And from everything I've seen, like we reviewed Capital Combat from the same year, and we've kind of reviewed stuff kind of the same era. It's like they don't quite know what they're going to do and where they're going, and every choice they make seems to be the wrong one. Like they're almost there. Whether it's Doom versus the Road Warriors, but then the Road Warriors leave. Doom is the coolest fucking tag team you got. You split them up. I mean, just every single spot. And then by the time they actually pull the trigger, it's just kind of meh,
I would say Wrestle War, I would say you're spot on with your analysis of that. Like they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. They know they need to modernize it somehow. They kind of aren't willing to do the actual modernizing. They want to be more like WWE or WWF, but they don't want to look like they're trying to be more like WWF.
This is also with all the WCW we've from this era and even a couple years later, how do I want to say it? WWF conditioned people to these short matches and, not the build. Well, you want to know why? It's because all of the matches in WCW are fucking boring. That's why. So of course, WWF, like I said, it's like with the first match, this is a 10-minute match that goes 15. Whether it's Vince, Pat Patterson, whoever, just kind of understood the crowd is not into this. Just tighten it up by like 3 minutes and it makes all the difference. But then you get to the point where now everything is like super short and people don't understand, a nice long match.
Well, so like this style of wrestling has fallen by the wayside ultimately because
it's not all bad. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not trying to shit on all of
but like I will say as a kid, I became conditioned to understand that like you really don't have to pay that much attention until about 10 minutes in.
Right.
to most matches. Because if it's a Ricky Steamboat match, for instance, or if it's a Ric Flair match or somebody like that, and I'm a massive Steamboat fan, I'm a massive Flair fan,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew the first 5 to 10 minutes of that match are going to be arm bars and just feeling each other out, and nobody cares.
And
it doesn't matter.
And I don't hate it as much now, but yeah, as a kid, like, yeah, you just kind of met, unless it's the Steiners who just come out of the gate fucking running as hard as they can.
Well, and that's why they stand out so much, is it's all power and speed. It's power, speed. It's just explosivity, that you don't see out of somebody like Lex Luger until like deep into a match, typically, So I would say, I would give this show a 5, and it's entirely carried by Luger and Flair and Sting's great character work. It's cool to see Ole Anderson tag, in the sense that I really did love that Anderson methodology of going after a limb and just staying on it.
Yeah,
the whole time.
I do like that. I like that a lot.
Who was the least entertaining person on this show? If you had to pick one.
Can I pick both of the dynamic dudes? I'm torn. Again, I even think
I'm torn.
I
think Ace is less charismatic than Douglas.
Yeah, but Douglas doesn't do much in this either. You don't really see enough of him,
I would also say Zinc is way up there.
He's bad. He's just blah. He's Wonder Bread. And then he's just boring.
What was the most surprising thing about the show to you?
The most surprising is that I am not a Lex Luger fan. And, like I said, I've shit on Luger a lot over the years. I think by the time like the Monday Night Wars were going on, I think Luger felt maybe I don't know if he had his problems or if his heart just wasn't into it. But like the Luger that I think of, I'm not. I remember him as the narcissist and all that stuff too. And I didn't really like him then either, because I was a Bret Hart guy. So my big surprising takeaway was how much I loved the main event. I really if you are a person who has a bad image of Lex Luger in your head, I would say watch this main event. And that was a shocker to me. I was going to go to bed and I stayed up late because I got so into that match.
I would also say this is where I discovered Lex Luger, and he was working real hard at this time to be that top guy. And he was very motivated to be that top guy. I think even by the time he actually wins the title and then leaves to go to WWF, I'm not sure that he really cares that much about it anymore.
I don't know.
He just wants the money.
Right.
And he's more after the money. And I think he settles into a role in WCW that he's happy in. And he actually gets the title more at that point in his career than he had before.
When I started watching WCW like around just before Flair left, I think, just as Flair, like basically Luger's title reign and stuff. And the only things about Luger's title reign that I remember are like Harley Race and like Ron Simmons. Oh no, Ron beat Vader, didn't he? So yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe Ron had a couple title matches.
He wrestled Ron. Luger defended against Ron at Halloween Havoc.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, like it's not Luger that I remember from that era, and it just kind of
He barely wrestled. He wasn't on TV a lot.
Right.
He was kind of just checked out.
That's
and I think he fully intended to go to WWF. I think that was. He was very set on that already.
And then he did.
I would say the thing that surprised me was hearing how bad Terry Funk was on commentary.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. At all. It's not that he's bad. It's just not what you'd like. You said he's a fucking poor man's Jesse Ventura. It's not what you'd think Terry would be.
Terry doesn't seem authentic, like he's totally being himself. And I would say he talks too much and then says a lot of things, but doesn't say anything, which I just found weird. And Jim Ross clearly has anxiety working with him, where he feels like he's trying to like clean up the stuff Terry's saying.
Jim seems like that a lot on these old pay-per-views though. Like he seems like maybe I don't know if he's like a micromanager or whatever, but I think he seems like he's just like, he's always trying to fix shit, even if it doesn't need to be fixed. Like he's really,
I would say that's very true. I think Jim took wrestling way too seriously at this point. And I would say the advantage to Tony Schiavone with all of this is he understood that it had to be fun. And you can always tell when Tony's having fun. And Jim is never having fun. Jim is always trying to hit everything flawlessly. you know? And sometimes he's so great. And then sometimes it's like cringy how he's trying to almost like protect the business still.
Yeah. That is one of the things like about like the Bischoff Monday Night Wars era, that of all the things that piss me off about that stuff is the fact that you listen to old Tony Schiavone and that dude loves wrestling. You listen to Tony Schiavone every Wednesday night and that dude loves wrestling. But during the Monday Night Wars era, I hated Tony Schiavone. And it's not Tony's fault. It's because he didn't love wrestling anymore. You could tell.
I think he didn't like the product as much, and he didn't like what he was being pushed to do.
Yeah, like they broke the dude's heart, man. You know, and I think
he had to focus too much on the business side of it, and I don't think that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, Tony's not a flawless human being. Like he had an ego too. And
I don't know Tony as a guy, but I'm just saying like the joy of young Tony Schiavone and then the joy of Tony Schiavone now. It's like there was that period in you know, the late 90s or whatever, mid to late 90s where it's like, I just didn't like him. And it sucks, you know?
Yeah. He became the voice of WCW. And so he was kind of a heel, you know, whether he wanted to be or not, whether he deserved to be or not.
Right.
Well,
anyway,
Degree. That was Wrestle War 1990. Thank you all who joined us live for the show. We appreciate you so much. Make sure you subscribe to The Hard Ways YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the Sickos Club YouTube. And make sure you join us next week because, Degree,
we are covering the Survivor Series Showdown 1991. Not Survivor Series, but the Survivor Series Showdown, which was something that aired on the USA Network like a week or two before Survivor Series?
Usually a week before, yeah.
So like everything else that we do on the show, it's on YouTube, so it's accessible. You don't have to pay for anything. It's all free out there. We want you to watch it first so that when we cover it, you can see if your views align with ours. Get in the chat, talk shit to us, listen to me do rap songs about Ninja Turtles. For iBlade Daily, I'm Professor Degree, and this is Professional Wrestling the Hard Way.
Bye!
Sickos Club.